Introducing myself in the future. Yo, I got full-blown autism, bro. What is this?
Around neurotypical children. We have a responsibility to do better when an autistic, sorry about that. When an autistic person goes missing,
Oh, obviously that's his ringtone. Of course it is. Of course his ringtone is a quacking noise. They, like, literally, guys, I don't know how to explain this. I don't know how to say this in any other words. If this was a TV show, it would be too on the nose. People would be pissed. They'd be like, oh, let me get this straight. The quack has a ringtone that's literally a quack. Okay. Yeah, I'm sure that would totally happen in real life. Mm-hmm. Are we serious? Are we just... So, autism destroys families.
This is an individual tragedy as well. Autism destroys families. More importantly, it destroys our greatest resource, which are our children. These are children who should not be suffering like this. These are kids who, many of them were fully functional and regressed because of some environmental exposure into autism when they're 2 years old. And these are kids who will never pay taxes. They'll never hold a job. They'll never play baseball. They'll never write a poem. They'll never go out on a date. Many of them will never use a toilet unassisted. And we have to recognize we are doing this to our children. And we need to put an end to it. Some of the key numbers from the...
Damn, you people can't do anything. You guys know that one copy pasta. Listen, the only time autism has torn a family apart is when your wife buys 500 more Warhammer figurines. That's when it does. Like, we don't have room for these. Someone who's good at the economy, please help me.
ADD.
Anyways, let's watch this horrible thing.
Report.
Call me out then, I guess. Jesus fucking Christ.
Overall, the autism is increasing. In
Denims, what do you mean, you people? You're inside the house. You're the one meticulously organizing the rice.
Prevalence at an alarming rate. The study tests 8-year-olds who were born in 2014. And by the way, these studies are 2 years later than they should be. And one of the things that we're going to do as we move this function to the Administration for a Healthy America, to the Chronic Disease Division, the new Chronic Disease Division, is we are going to have updated real-time data so that people can look at this, so Americans can understand what is happening with chronic disease in this country in real time, and not have to wait 2 years to react. We don't wait 2 years to react to a measles epidemic, and we should not, or any kind of infectious disease. We shouldn't have to do that for diabetes or autism.
You know, as an idea, I got an idea about this measles problem, but it might be a little bit crazy is the thing. What if we vaccinated people against measles, like when they were young? What if we did that? I don't know if that would be... Like, I'm not a medical health professional. I'm not a health professional by any stretch of the imagination, so I could be completely wrong about that. But like, what if we tried that as like a strategy? Maybe. What if we did that?
The prevalence rate in 8-year-olds is now 1 in 31. Shocking. There's an extreme risk for boys, Overall, the risk for boys of getting an autism diagnosis in this country is now 1 in 20. And as high in California, which has the best data collection. So it probably also reflects the national trend, 1 in 12.5 boys. This is part of an unrelenting upward trend. The prevalence 2 years ago was 1 in 36. Since the first ADDM report in 1990, which was 1992 births, autism has increased by a factor of 4.8. That's 480%, I believe. The first ADDM survey was 22 years ago when prevalence was 1 in 150 children. In all the core states, the trend is consistently upward. And most cases now are severe.
So, did you guys know that if you don't test for COVID, you don't have COVID? Do you guys know that or no? No, that's how it works. Yeah.
So about 25% of the kids who are diagnosed with autism are nonverbal, non-toilet trained, and have other stereotypical features, head banging, tactile and light sensitivities, stimming, toe walking, etc. One of the things that
stimming? I also don't know what the last one was. Toe walking. What is toe? Oh, like tippy toeing? Uh-huh. Can you turn subtitles on? Sorry, you're so right.
We need to move away from today.
The other problem too with all of this, like the entire presentation on this, besides it being obviously very ableist, is like there are lots of neurotypical kids that have any number of, I think that they might be called developmental issues that just sometimes happen that are more than manageable as long as you attempt to catch it like soon and work on it. So like lisps, for example, there can be technically nothing wrong with you and you have a lisp. Or you have difficulty pronouncing certain words, or like stuttering is another example, where there isn't technically some neurodevelopmental disorder, but there's like a struggle with that, and you get a speech therapist as a kid, and then you don't have to deal with that problem anymore. And that's it. Like, I think my last message explains where this thinking comes from. Let me see. I think his understanding of autism comes from what happened to his aunt after they lobotomized her. And he just thinks lobotomy is the thing that happens if you take vaccines. No, I think that he's like a conspiracy theorist who thinks that the vaccines actually cause autism. But speech therapy is woke and gay and silly, Denims. Oh, okay, my bad. Sorry, my bad. Like, it's the same thing. The reason to diagnose children sooner is because you can help those children who are on the spectrum and give them coping tools or coping mechanisms sooner in life instead of letting them struggle with all of these different social situations that they otherwise would be very confused about, or any number of social cues as like one random example of something that people on the spectrum can struggle with, social cues. Instead of making this kid just suffer because, well, they can use the toilet on their own or whatever, so they obviously aren't autistic or whatever the fuck this stupid nonsense is. It's like, no, you can provide them with tools that would make their life better sooner. There are kids who go from verbal to nonverbal overnight and are cause for alarm, but there's no way to talk about it. And to say the science is settled on vaccines is inherently science because it's never. I mean, it's just nonsense. It's just fucking nonsense.
Is this ideology that the
early intervention is one of the most effective ways to treat autism and improve long-term outcomes? I mean, at least treat the symptoms that are associated with, or the symptoms that come with being on the spectrum that make life more difficult and make, not acclimating, but like adjusting to the rest of the world that make that more difficult. Being able to find that sooner and be like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with you. Yep, these are just the rules. This is what you just need to do. This is how everyone else feels about this thing. This is how they're seeing it. Having that ability is like, why wouldn't we provide that for kids? That feels like on the same level as like seeing a kid with a speech impediment and saying, well, it must be the vaccine that caused the speech impediment. It's like, or we can just give them speech A speech therapist. What? I don't, What's wrong with that?
Autism diagnosis, that the autism prevalence increases, the relentless increases, are simply artifacts of better diagnoses, better recognition, or changing diagnostic criteria. If you look at Table 3 of the ADD.
So you're already aware, but the whole anti-vax panic started with a dude trying to make a buck off his own vaccine. More specifically, it was a dude trying to separate the MMR vaccine into 3 separate vaccines. But we watched a little bit of it, and I talked about it like literally 2 weeks ago, I think. Wakefield, yeah, Andrew Wakefield.
Report, it's clear that the rates are real, that they are increasing in the last 10 years, which is...
No, sorry, let me clarify this statement. If the rates are increasing, it's because, one, we are destigmatizing being autistic or being on the spectrum, which means more people are willing to go and get a diagnosis instead of just avoiding the problem and ignoring it and pretending like everything's fine. And 2, our definition has changed significantly to mean, any number of these things can mean that you're on the spectrum. And that's fine.
Beginning with the first one, year by year, there is a steady, relentless increase.
It's kind of like seeing someone who can't see and saying, well, just see better instead of giving them glasses, for fuck's sake. Can you imagine, like, we have all these people with astigmatism and all these people with like -5 vision, and we're like, you know what we need to do? Stop giving people vaccines. It's like, there must be a better solution to this problem. There's gotta be maybe some type of glassware that I could wear on some type of glass that I could wear on my face, maybe, perhaps, instead of, I don't know, getting rid of the thing that stopped measles.
I want to, because this epidemic denial has become a feature in the mainstream media, and it's based on an industry canard. And obviously, there are people who don't want us to look at environmental exposures. And so I want to just read you some of the little excerpts from some of the older studies. The baseline for autism in this country was established with the largest epidemiological study in history. A study of all 900,000 children in the state of Wisconsin, children under the age of 12. They found 0.7 children had autism in every 10,000. That's less than 1 in 10,000. Today we're at 1 in 31.
I need to see this research. I need to see this. I'm sorry.
That study also confirmed the 4-to-1 male to female ratio. There were at that time just over 60 children in Wisconsin with autism. And today it's around 20,000. In 1987, there was another exhaustive study, a peer-reviewed study in North Dakota, set out to count every child in the state with a pervasive developmental disorder, including autism. That study meticulously combed through every record, every diagnosis, and he even conducted in-person assessments of the entire population of 180,000 children under 18. The autism rate they found was 3.3 per 10,000. So that's in line with the 1 in 10,000 that was found in Wisconsin 17 years earlier. For context, today the last number of 1 in 36 is 83 times higher.
Guys, it's a study from 40 years ago. You're telling me you don't trust a study from Dakota in 1986? You're telling me that there's no way that science is always evolving? That can't be right.
In 1987, out of every 1 million kids, 330 were diagnosed with autism. Today, there are 27,777 for every million. If you accept the epidemic denier's narrative, you have to believe that researchers in North Dakota miss 98.8% of the children with autism.
There's no way that people aren't denying the research. People are explaining that, of course, you're going to see a rise when it becomes less stigmatized to get diagnosed.
Thousands of profoundly disabled
person in this chatter. Do y'all know any severely autistic people, though? He's describing a reality to many people, but fear-mongering the causes. Denims, you are coping low-key. The rise in cases of kids with diagnoses that put them on the spectrum has increased because we have expanded the definition to include people who are low support need and high support need. Whereas previously, if you could hold a job, you would never get that diagnosis. And we only gave that diagnosis to people who were high support need kids or children or whatever. That definitely is a factor. That's the factor. That's the factor.
Children were somehow invisible to doctors,
It's like saying telescopes cause planets.
teachers, parents, and even their own study. The same researchers who followed the original cohort for 12 years to double-check their number, they went back in 2000 and found that they had missed exactly one child. So doctors and therapists in the past were not stupid. They weren't missing all these cases. The epidemic is real. Between 1959 and 1965, researchers from 14 hospitals associated with major universities undertook the National Collaborative Perinatal Project, tracking 30,000 children from birth to age 8. This was no half-baked survey-based analysis. The study conducted 9 separate screenings covering neurology, psychology, speech, language, hearing, and visual function. Every developmental quirk, anomaly, and disorder was logged with painstaking detail. Autism, a condition characterized by profound impairments in social communication and behavior, would have stood out like a neon sign. There were 14 cases. That's 4.7 per 10,000. So we know what the historic numbers are, and we know what the numbers are today. And it's time for everybody to stop attributing this to this ideology of epidemic denial.
Epidemic denial is amazing. It's actually amazing.
In 2009, the California state legislature.
Hey, what does eating roadkill cause? Any 39-year-old studies on that? Hey, what does a worm eating part of your brain and then dying cause? I just want to know.
Charged the Mind Institute at UC Davis with because this myth was already becoming pervasive, the myth of epidemic denial was already becoming pervasive in the mainstream media. The California legislature directed the Mind Institute at UC Davis to answer the question. And Irva Hertz-Pichota was a highly esteemed, revered scientist, neurology, and epidemiologist, came back with a definitive answer: the epidemic is real. Only a very, very small portion of it can be changed can be charged to better recognition or better diagnostic criteria. I want to say a couple of other things. There are many, many other studies that affirm this. And instead of listening to this canard of epidemic denial, all you have to do is start reading a little science, because the answer is very clear. And this is catastrophic for our country. There's a recent study by Blaxell et al. And a team of other.
The other factor is older sperm. Advanced paternal age correlates with autism diagnosis almost perfectly, but these idiots hate that because it's the old white men's fault. Well, yeah. It's actually really sad talking to like moids sometimes because you'll try and explain the idea that like actually paternal age matters significantly for the quality and like the health of the fetus. And I don't know why it's like a hard to swallow pill for moids. Where they're like, no, only the woman's age matter. It's like, can you use your brain for a second? You think you combine an egg and a sperm and you think only the egg would matter? It's like making a cake with like rotting milk, but the eggs are fresh. It's like, dude, your cake is going to taste like shit. You're using spoiled milk, man. It doesn't matter how fresh the eggs are. The milk is fucking spoiled, dog. Hello? I don't know if people know this, but you're still a human being, okay? You're not unique in some special regard because you produce sperm, so therefore it must be perfect always, forever. Like, hello? Yes, as you age, fertility decreases and the quality of egg and the quality of sperm worsens and degrades because you're aging. You're not like exempt from this because moid. Like, that's so fucking stupid. Like, it's just the dumbest thing on the fucking planet.
The researchers said that the cost of treating autism in this country by 2035, so within 10 years, will be $1 trillion a year. This is added to already astronomical healthcare costs. And then there's an individual injury. These are kids that this is a preventable disease. We know it's an environmental exposure. It has to be. Genes do not cause epidemics. They can provide a vulnerability. You need an environmental toxin. And Hertz-Pachota pointed out that because of this mythology, that the amount of money and resources put into studying genetic causes, which is a dead end, has been historically 10 to 20 times the amount spent by NIH and other agencies to study environmental factors, to study exposures, to study external factors, and that's where we're going to find the answer.
You know what's probably really good for child development? Alfalfa sprouts have been recalled over contaminations with E. coli and salmonella. That's good for human development, right? For child development, it's good that they have as many, they ingest as much E. coli and salmonella as possible, right? What's that on his forehead? I think it's like some like beetles or some flies or something. I don't know. Laughing and saying, look what we've done after like 100 and something schoolgirls were killed in Iran. It's like, oh, okay. I must have missed the memo. Let's keep going, shall we?
This is an individual tragedy as well. Autism destroys families. More importantly, it destroys our greatest resource, which are our children. These are children who should not be suffering like this. These are kids who, many of them were fully functional and regressed because of some environmental exposure into autism when they're 2 years old. And these are kids who will never pay taxes. They'll never hold a job. They'll never play baseball. They'll never write a poem. They'll never go out on a date. Many of them will never use a toilet unassisted. And we have to recognize we are doing this to our children. And
by the way, again, like when you try and look at when you try and look at the data on how many autistic children or how many high needs children exist today relative to a few decades ago, you can't even find this fucking information. They use the most inflated statistics, which can refer to people who are high functioning or require low support. They can have a job. They're intelligent. They, have a social life, but they're definitely on the spectrum. they're also including these people. So when it's like, there's been a 400% increase, it's like, do you not recognize that including people who can live relatively, quote, normal lives, who can use toilets or whatever, is including those people in this data set is just fucking fear-mongering?
Need to put an end to it. And I think I'm going to have Walter Zaharodny, who is the most senior researcher for this project for ADDM, and who's been doing this for many years, to come up and say a little.
Good morning. Thank you for being here. I'm here as a long-term autism researcher and a clinical psychologist. I get to wear two hats, one with patients and families, trying to help them get to a diagnosis and to interventions and treatments. But
as
also,
long as it's not the diagnosis that I don't like.
For the last 20 plus years as the director of the New Jersey Autism Study, which is a CDC-sponsored autism surveillance system. We've monitored autism in New Jersey in concert with the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention since 2000. When we began our endeavor with CDC, we expected to do maybe 2 or 3 baseline studies to establish how many children have autism, because it was not expected that autism prevalence would increase. Other childhood disabilities, neurologic disorders do not increase or change over time. But somehow, for some reason, with autism, everything was different. Autism went from being a very unusual, rare disability, which affected, as the secretary said, 1 child in maybe 10,000, to being known in every community, every school district, every center that cares for children with disabilities. Autism is real. It's a true disability. It's not a personality quirky issue. Everything has changed for the individual with autism, and while there's a wide range of expression, it does change the family, and it does inevitably change the community and the society in which we find it. Autism prevalence has increased very dramatically. It's increased in New Jersey, where we have excellent resources and access to services, and it's increased in...
Okay, your data set is wrong, and you included Hassan Piker 10,000 times, so check again.
All the states in the network. It's increased not only by the CDC ADAM network, active surveillance activities, but it's increased according to federal IDEA statistics and information from a multitude of surveys. It is a true increase. There is better awareness of autism, but better awareness of autism cannot be driving disability like autism to increase by 300% in 20 years. That's what we saw in New Jersey. That's what the
Loki, I want to go on like a syndrome, like villain rant and be like, soon everyone will be autistic. And when everyone's autistic, no one is.
CDC report of yesterday indicates, and that's what, in my opinion, future reports from epidemiologists will show. The data provided in yesterday's report strongly suggests that not only is this a high point of autism prevalence,
it's kind of low-key giving this. Authorities predict gals will rise to new heights by 2000. And it's showing like 1900s, the 5-foot woman, 1950, the 5'5" woman, 2000, the 6-foot woman. God, I wish that were true. The future woman will be a giant. The woman of today and her great-grandmother height has increased 8 inches in a century. And it shows constant growth. God, I wish. God, I wish they were right. It's also kind of giving this as well. My 3-month-old son is now twice as big as when he was born. He's on track to weigh 7.5 trillion pounds by age 10. It's really boring down here. They make me watch leftist Twitch streamers sad. Shut the fuck up, Lindsey Graham official. Like you were making a short joke and then I read your username. Like to pretend and to do this fear mongering and be like, we need to do something. All of these autistic people are appearing everywhere. Like, first of all, news flash, asshole. They've been there the whole damn time. You think Grandpa with his fucking intricate train set isn't autistic, you fucking idiot? Nice try. Okay, it's been there the whole time. Second, do I need to pull up the left-handed chart?
Of yesterday indicates, and that's what, in my opinion, future reports from epidemiologists will show. The data provided in yesterday's report strongly suggests that not only is this a high point of autism prevalence, but in the future, rates can only be higher. Autism deserves to be treated as a real public health phenomenon, and I would say is an urgent public health crisis. It's not just that we're more astute or perceptive. It's not like 2 or 3 children out of for every one with autism has remained invisible. Autism is striking, and the consequences are lifelong. So I would urge everyone to consider the...
Okay, did I mishear that, or did he say we? Is he not evidence of... Was that not him saying... Let me just... Maybe I misheard that, sorry. Let me just go back really fast.
Public health phenomenon, and I would say is an urgent public health crisis. It's not just that we're more astute or perceptive. It's not like 2 or 3 children.
That was him saying that he is autistic, yes? Unless he was misspeaking, because he said it's not like we're just more astute or something. No, I misheard? Well, what did he say then? Oh, he's saying... Oh, he's talking about the studies. Okay. My apologies. Okay, that makes sense. It's not that we're more perceptive at detecting autism. Got it.
Out of for every one with autism has remained invisible. Autism is striking, and the consequences are lifelong. So I would urge everyone to consider the likelihood that autism, whether you call it an epidemic, a tsunami, or a surge of autism, is a real thing that we don't...
Dude, you guys excited for the autism tsunami this weekend?
Understand, and it must be triggered or caused by environmental or risk factors. We need to address this question seriously because, in my opinion, for the last 20 years, we've collected data but not made real progress in understanding what causes autism or how to effectively prevent it or treat it effectively. So I urge you to read the report very carefully. I urge you to do something that nobody does and go into the many supplemental tables and see that autism is a true phenomenon and that we need a correct perception, not a perception that allows us to just provide services without understanding the root causes or the true factors at play. So thank you for your...
What I don't understand about this press conference is, do they think that people don't think autism is real and it doesn't exist at all, ever? Well, there are people that think that, but I feel like the majority of people know that autism is real. What?
Attention. I wish we could answer questions.
I think we can. Let me just say one other thing. I referred to a number of studies. There are many others in the scientific literature that absolutely explode this mythology that this is, that the autism epidemic is not real. If you read the literature, it is absolutely.
Oh, okay. So they're saying like the autism epidemic isn't real. That people don't think that. Okay, that makes I think more sense. He just kept saying like the other dude kept saying people think autism isn't real or something like that. It's like what the fuck.
It is absolutely indefensible to continue to promote this.
Guys, when are we going to talk about the left-handed epidemic? We stopped beating children and forcing them to write with their right hands, and suddenly we're getting more and more people writing with their left hand. At this rate, everyone is going to be left-handed. When are we going to do something about this left-handed epidemic? Yo, chill, I'm left-handed. Left-handed people when no one's looking.
But it doesn't take you to read the literature. It just takes a little common sense. If the epidemic is an artifact, a better diagnostic criteria or better recognition, then why are we not seeing it in older people? Why is this only happening in young people? I asked Walter before we came out here, I said, have you ever seen anybody our age? I'm 71 years old with full-blown autism, headbanging.
Full-blown autism, full-blown autism. Introducing myself in the future. Yo, I got full-blown autism, bro. It's so absurd. I have to fucking laugh. Oh, that guy has half-blown autism. Nah, he's a poser. No, that guy has full-blown autism.
Nonverbal, non-toilet trained, stimming, toe walking, these other stereotypical features. Where are these people walking around the mall? You can't find them. They're not in homes. There are no homes for them. There are no institutions for them. Why are we seeing them on the street? Anybody can look around and see that this is a canard. And then you have to ask yourself, why is it so pervasive? Why has it been thrown up against us for so many years? And clearly there are industries. This is coming from an environmental toxin. And somebody made a profit by putting that environmental toxin into our air, our water, our medicine.
Aren't you guys glad that the FDA makes sure that everything is fucking polluted now? What do you mean everything is? You're doing that.
Our food. And it's to their benefit to say, to normalize it. To say, this is all normal. It's always been here. But that's not good for our country. And it's not good for the press to not be more inquisitive, to not be more skeptical. And within 3 weeks, and probably we're hoping in 2 weeks, we're going to announce a series of new studies to identify precisely what the environmental toxins are that are causing it. This has not been done before. And we're going to do it in a thorough and comprehensive way, and we're going to get back to with an answer to the American people very, very quickly.
Secretary Kennedy.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Secretary Kennedy, I was not diagnosed with autism in 1994 when I initially did it. It took me 5 years to get diagnosed later. You also talked about the fact...
Oh, someone's saying that they got diagnosed with autism 5 years later or something? 1 second.
Black and Latino people, but even your own study says...
Even your own study says that these findings may indicate that improvements in ASD awareness, identification, and access to services in communities among Black communities and children have improved.
Do you think that, are you denying that in the past Black, Latino, and AAPI people...
Are you denying that the Black, Latino, and AAPI people had not been diagnosed? They've been diagnosed with behavioral disorders and they've been disciplined, they've been incarcerated. Now they're finally getting the services that they need.
Oh, yeah, and there are small slivers of the autism epidemic, maybe 10% to 25% according to the studies. Highest studies are around 25%. That can be attributed to better recognition and better diagnosis. That means 85% or 75% to 80% are part of an epidemic, and that's too many. And
Sorry. I have to, 1 second, it's really fast. I need to take a quick break from RFK. The liberals and socialists are ruining this country. Multiple liberals, only one socialist. Then go live in Alabama, bro. Then don't live in a blue city, dumb fuck. Hello? Go live in a fucking shithole then. You don't want buses? It's fine with us. You want fucking potholes? Go ahead. Live your life. You want the data center ruining your fucking hearing, giving you vertigo, making you insane? You are more than welcome to do that, you stupid fucking fat fucking chud, dude. Go for it, man. Let's keep going.
And that is what we need to redress.
Walter, do you have something you'd like to add?
There's better recognition of autism and better awareness because there are more children with autism. And
It's not true. That's not true.
professionals have greater reason to learn from what their experience and to diagnose. I wish the contrary was true, but it's not like better awareness pushes something that's not there. Rather, something that's there is being recognized.
Secretary, can I use some of the CDC?
Can you please say your first and last name and outlet before asking a question? Thank you.
Oh, you want to Secretary Kennedy, Amanda Seitz with the Associated Press. Some of the CDC's own research has concluded that there's a genetic link at play with autism. Are you saying today that you don't trust that research or that it was wrong? Could you expand a little bit more on that?
No, there is, we have really good genetic markers now, and they provide a vulnerability. But those genetic markers alone are not going to dictate your destiny. You need an environmental toxin. You need
an environmental toxin. I know he's saying that in the context of like you need environmental toxins to cause problems or whatever, which by the way, that's not even true. It's literally not, but ignoring that for a brief moment. I like the world where he's like talking about it like the worm is speaking now. Silence, the worm is speaking. Yeah, you need environmental toxins. You need them.
There are many genetic markers that dictate the methylation capacity of the human body. Those contribute to, those dictate, listen, with many people smoke cigarettes.
Listen, many people smoke cigarettes.
And only 1 in 5 died from lung cancer. There were 4 of them that didn't. And those were the ones that had some circumstances, probably genetic, that made them more susceptible to it. And the same is true. We know that that glutathione production, and glutathione is a...
The worms in his brain are arguing right now.
is an enzyme that helps the human body excrete metals and toxins. People with low glutathione production are more vulnerable. People with the MTHFR gene, which dictates methylation, are more vulnerable. People with high testosterone are more vulnerable. So there are a lot of genetic vulnerabilities. You need an environmental toxin.
Which, by the way, I'm pretty sure the way that he's talking about, if you have more testosterone, you're more vulnerable. I'm pretty sure that that's not even true. I could be wrong. I would have to double check on the study. So it's possible that that is true. But I'm pretty sure that what he's trying to say is that men get diagnosed more than women do for autism. But that doesn't mean that the testosterone is causing the autism. Hello? That means that there are certain social behaviors that we're fine with men having, but we're not fine with women having. And as a woman, you have to deal with it and handle it and figure out a way to create coping mechanisms, whereas we just don't care as much. And we're more willing to overlook the behavior so the behavior doesn't improve and they never start masking the behavior, which means that they get to seek care for it. Like, hello?
Alex at Fox. Alex.
Hi, Alex Hoff, Fox News. In seeking out an environmental toxin, do you feel that if one or several are detected or put on your radar, do you think it would be the same one causing issues at both ends of this spectrum, children who struggle with, let's say, sensory issues, all the way to those who are fully care dependent, unable to speak. Would it be the same catalyst in all of those varying conditions, you think?
Well, those are the kind of studies we're going to do. And you're right, there's a spectrum of injuries, and we don't know. There are studies that look at maternal activation, so that something happens in the womb. There are studies that look at other genetic causes. The issue that we know is genes don't cause epidemics. You need an environmental toxin. And we're going to look at all the potential culprits. We're going to look at mold. We're going to look at food additives. We're going to look at pesticides. We're going to look at air and water.
And we're going to increase all of those toxins. All of them, we're going to increase them. All of those toxins, we're going to increase them. More mold, worse air, worse water, more worms.
And medicines. So, we're going to look at ultrasound, because there's a timeline that, something happened. In fact, Congress said to EPA, ordered EPA to tell us what year the autism epidemic began. The EPA scientists came back and said it happened in 1989. Oh, you have to find a toxin that became ubiquitous around that time period. And that affected every demographic, from Cubans in Key Biscayne to Inuit in Alaska. And that affects boys at a 4-to-1 ratio as girls. There's a limited universe of those, but actually it's quite large. And,
something Alaska 89, limited universe. What the fuck is he talking about?
Hertz Pichota was the one who suggested that one of the things we have to look at is ultrasound. I don't think that that's probably a factor, but it's one of the exposures that became ubiquitous during that period. And we're going to look at all of them agnostically. We're going to find the potential exposures that increased during that time period. And we're going to...
By the way, all of the money that we're potentially spending on this fucking nonsense, we can put towards actual, child care and improve the conditions of kids that are around today, instead of being like, yeah, it's the autism is being increased, so we need to change that because it's got to be evil and bad. Okay.
And we're gonna see if there is a link to this injury.
Thank you. Nathan at Epic Times.
I'm sorry, can I please go? I've been
No,
waiting.
Nathan.
Give him his chance to speak.
Nathan.
Yes, Nathan Worcester with Epic Times. During that same time period of increasing autism prevalence or diagnoses, there's also been a significant increase in maternal and paternal age. Couldn't that be a significant contributor
With what?
beyond maternal and paternal age?
Epic Times. No, I didn't cover that, Cartha.
Yeah, we're going to look at all of that. We're going to look at obesity in the parents. We're going to look at the age of the parents. We're going to look at diabetes in the parents. We're going to look at all of these potential exposures. And because of AI and because of the...
Okay, I don't know if I'm just dehydrated or he is psychically inducing me with worm brain, but I'm actually getting a headache. I'm going to get some water and hopefully that makes it better. But I'm listening. I have my wireless earbuds in, so I'll be suffering the whole time with you guys.
Digitalization of health records and the mass of health records that are now available to us, we can do this much more quickly than has ever been done in the past.
Cheyenne. This is our last question. Thank you.
Do you still pledge to have answers by September, or is that going to be the beginning of this process? And are you open to following the science regardless of whether it confirms some of your expectations or not?
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna follow the science no matter what it says, and we will have some of the answers by September. It's going to be an evolving process. We're going to involve, we're going to issue grants the way that it's always done to university researchers and others. We're going to remove the taboo. People will know they can research and they can follow the science no matter what it says, without any kind of fear that they're going to be censored, that they're going to be gaslighted, that they're going to be silenced, they're going to be defunded, be licensed, and we're going to give them permission to do this research, and then we're going to open it up to the research community.
Unless the science says something we don't like.
We're going to task them with certain outcomes, and we're going to have them come and bid on how to do the research. This is all being run by Jay Bhattacharya and I think Martin Koldorf may be also working on this on designing the grant proposals. So it's going to be done by credible scientists, by the most credible scientists from all over the world.
The most credible scientists. You guys can trust this guy to find the most credible scientists.
And we're going to do it very, very quickly. Yeah, one more question. You identify yourself.
Oh, sorry. I'm Emma Bevins with Fierce Healthcare. Once you identify which environmental toxins are causing autism, what do you expect the impact to be on the industries that are causing those? You cited industry as something that would cause it.
I think we're going to figure out a way to make pressure on them to remove it. And I think also, there will be market forces that also exert pressure on them to remove it. And I want to say that I'm very grateful to President Trump because he tasked me on day one of this job with making this a priority of finding out what's causing the autism epidemic, and we are going to do it for him. Thank you all very much.
Really?
Who is clapping? Do you know the name of the bald guy in the video? I want to look him up. I don't actually know the name of that guy. I actually got like a headache watching that, dude. Oh my God. My head, it literally caused me fucking psychic damage. He was giving Dr. Evil. Oh my God, dude. On the bright side, guys, don't worry. Mystery meat. Trump says he struck a deal to flood the U.S. with cheaper foreign beef. There's just one problem. He refuses to tell Americans which country the beef is coming from. That's fine. He gave me full-blown autism. Is that meat shaped like Trump? No, you are hallucinating. No one else here thinks that beef looks like Trump. You're the only person here that thinks that. Are you okay? I think you should get checked out. This is just a Baldur's Gate 3 plot to spread worms to all glory be to the absolute. Oh my God, dude. Jesus. All right. Denims hurt herself in her confusion. Why? I don't get it. All right, dude. What is this? I don't want to know. Never mind. Please look at this instead. It's from Pokemon. I know that it's from I didn't understand why they said it. The question was more accurately, how am I confused about what? Huh? All right.